All right, let's dive into something pretty wild today. We're going to look at how you can take a standard WordPress website and turn it into, well, an intelligent, autonomous system. We're breaking down how 3 different plugins can work together to create a cohesive digital brain, taking your website from a static page into an active partner. Let's get into it.
But let's just start with this one big question. What if your website could do more than just show people stuff? What if it could actually understand what you're asking, go off and do complex tasks all on its own, learn from its own content, and even collaborate with you and your team? That's the huge idea we're unpacking here.
So the foundation of this whole digital brain is a plugin called Aura OS. The best way to think about it is like a brainstem, the autonomic nervous system. It's the part that's always on, handling all the deep, essential functions that you don't even have to think about. This is the core that keeps the entire system humming along.
So, what does it really mean to be an AI operating system for WordPress? Well, it's this foundational layer that gives your website 3 absolutely critical things. First, long-term memory, so it can actually store and recall information. Second, a whole toolbox of skills to interact with the site and the web. And third, the ability to run these really complex tasks quietly in the background. It's the raw processing power, the subconscious functions that let all the higher-level thinking happen.
And when you look under the hood, you can see just how comprehensive this thing is. This isn't some simple little plugin. It's a full-on modular system. You've got interfaces so you can plug in whatever AI model you want, Gemini, Anthropic, you name it. There's a core engine handling all the processing, and a huge library of built-in tools that let it do everything from browsing the web to digging directly into your site's file system. To manage all this, Aura actually builds its own anatomy right inside your WordPress database. As soon as you activate it, boom, it creates these custom tables. The Aura Vectors table, that's basically its hippocampus. It stores vectorized data, which is just a fancy way of turning ideas into numbers, so the AI can understand relationships and context. That's real long-term memory. Then you have the Aura Audit Log, which is kind of like the amygdala, logging every single action for security. And the Aura Ledger keeps track of costs, handling resource management.
So you might be wondering, how does Aura do all this heavy lifting without grinding my site to a halt, right? Well, the secret sauce is a component called the ticker. This is the magic that lets the AI think asynchronously. When a big job comes in, the ticker just schedules it to run in the background. So the AI can be off scraping a website or analyzing tons of data, and your users won't notice a single bit of lag. It's absolutely key to making this whole thing truly autonomous.
Okay, so if Aura is the brainstem, what about the cerebral cortex? The part that handles the higher-level thinking, the learning? For that, we turn to our second plugin. And this one is all about capturing and structuring knowledge from everyone. This plugin completely flips the idea of a WordPress comment section on its head. So instead of just a simple chronological list of text, it introduces this concept of a knowledge note. Every single contribution is structured with a specific type, and instead of just being a passive comment that gets buried, it becomes an active piece of a living, breathing knowledge base. And this is where it gets really clever. Instead of a chaotic free-for-all, the plugin gives the collaboration some structure. It comes with different note types right out of the box, like problem, my explanation, or scientific explanation. Each one has its own purpose, its own color. It actually guides users to build on each other's ideas in a really organized way. It turns a simple conversation into a deliberate process of building knowledge together. And the payoff for all this structure is this incredible visualization. All these notes get rendered using the D3JS library into what's called a force-directed graph. It's basically a living map of the entire conversation, where related ideas physically pull closer to each other. You can literally see the shape of the discussion at a glance. It's amazing. Okay, so we've got an autonomic core with Aura and a knowledge mapping system for higher thought. But how do they talk to each other? How does a big picture plan get executed by the deep, powerful system? Well, that's where our final piece of the puzzle, Neuralink, comes in.
The plugin's own description just says it all perfectly. It calls itself the corpus callosum. That's the part of the human brain that connects the 2 hemispheres. And that's exactly its job here, to be the bridge that connects high-level, conscious planning with the raw, autonomic power of Aura OS.
So how does it actually make that connection? The process is just so elegant. It happens in 4 simple steps. First, Neuralink teaches the planning AI a new trick by giving it a tool called Delegate to Aura. Then, when the planning AI needs a big job done, it just uses that tool. Neuralink translates that request into a new thought for Aura to work on. It then just sits back and monitors Aura's progress. As soon as the job is done, it sends a notification right back.
And this is absolutely critical. It's not just a one-way street for handing off tasks. Neuralink also creates a shared memory. It gives that high-level planning AI a direct line into Aura's long-term memory, that Aura vectors table we talked about. This is what unifies the entire system, making sure both hemispheres of the brain are always working from the exact same set of facts.
So, we've seen the three components: the autonomic core, the knowledge mapper, and the neural bridge. Now, let's put it all together and see how they actually work in concert to get a real-world task done.
So imagine you give it a command, something like, scrape the entire site and fix all the broken links. A high-level AI gets this. It knows that's a huge job, so it uses the Delegate to Aura tool it learned from Neuralink. Neuralink then creates a thought for Aura. Aura's ticker sees this new thought, wakes up, and assigns a specialist AI agent, let's say a developer agent. That agent then uses its built-in tools, like the browser and the file system, to crawl the site, find every broken link, and fix them. Once it's all done, Aura marks the as complete, and Neuralink shoots a message back to you saying the job is finished. Simple as that.
So, why does all this matter? What can you actually do with a system like this? Well, this architecture opens the door to some incredible possibilities. We're talking about autonomous website maintenance, proactive SEO monitoring, on-demand content generation. You can have intelligent agents managing parts of your site for you. It really lays the groundwork for a website that doesn't just sit there, but one that actively learns and improves itself over time.
And this really brings us to a final, pretty provocative thought. By building systems like this, we're fundamentally changing our relationship with our technology. We are moving away from a world where websites are just passive tools we use to one where they can become our active collaborators. And that leaves us with the real question, right? What's the next step in that evolution? What do we build when our platforms can finally start to think for themselves?